Hello everyone, so welcome to week 4 tutorial videos. So before I'm going to this week content, I would like to thank you for all your participations with the online consultation from Skype last week. And also, I would like to appreciate all the effort has been putting into the unit so far. I'm receiving several emails in terms of checking up their work. So I have noticed that some of you guys have done the tracing of the floor plan of the Tetsuka house, as well as the section of it as well. And then with the conceptual models, some of you guys also have completed. So again, congratulations, and please proceed the good work. Okay. Just before I'm going any further into this, again, I would like to remind you that this unit is very demanding. There are a lot of tasks in the upcoming weeks. So just a quick recap. So right now we're in week 4, and within week 3, what you have supposed to be finished is the rough tracing. So that's the tracing of the floor plan and the section in pencil. Okay, so you should complete that before going to the online consultation for next week and then showing me your pencil tracing. And then I will tell you what need to be fixed, what need to be improved. And then you're gonna continue with the fine liner tracing. Okay. Also, in terms of the conceptual models, by next week, the first task 1A, should be complete. So that including the generic theme for the conceptual model as well as the sketches. Okay. Over the weekend, I have not received that much of email concerning about the content of the unit, which is a really great thing. However, I do notice one common things among the email regarding to the checking up with their works. So that is the photograph of your models. Some of you did really well. However, I do notice that several models, while you're capturing the models, the light is still pretty full on. So it should be in the dark environment rather than a very bright environment. Okay, so well, what you can do is during your daytime make the models and then take the picture of it at the night times. Okay, that will be the only concern by far. And within the email I will send through to you along with this video, the link to this video, I also note several points that I noticed you guys should improve for the previous week, as well as some noticing point for this week as well. Okay, so now moving on to this week content. Okay, so for this week, we are looking at axonometric drawings. So axonometric drawing is the very basic 3D drawings in parallel dimensions. So unlike the perspective, which perspective drawings will be demonstrated again, it will be demonstrated in week 5 and week 6. Week 5 will be 1-point perspective, and then week 6 will be 2-point perspective. The axonometric drawings is the 3D, but it doesn't have perspective, and it based on the very simple geometrical rules of the X, Y, Z axis. Okay, so why do we need axonometric drawings? Well, basically, it is a very intriguing forms of drawings to expose both the interior and exterior. As you can see here, it starts with the floor plan, but with the floor plan, it doesn't show much in terms of the height of objects, the layout, as much as every 3D drawings, right? So axonometric in that regard help the non-trained designer like our clients understand more of the details of the house. And also axonometric sometimes being used for construction drawings as well. So it exploit, which is certain part of the house being taken out conceptually to reveal the inner part, the structural part of the house. Now, when you review the structural part of the house, it helps both the builder and the client understand how these building or the house or these part of the house being constructed, assembling it together, taking in place, grounded in the ground, and join to the other columns and beams of other level, things like that. Okay. So this is one of the basics axonometric, and the axonometric that we're looking in terms of the submissions of the Tetsuka house is an exploit axonometric. So again, exploit is different part of the house will be taken over apart. Okay, so for this one, that will be the roof as well as the level between the level between the buildings is being taken apart. You can explode the walls, and then I will come to that later. Okay, so again, the axonometric drawing for the Tetsuka house, you base it on the floor plans, and then you're gonna explode it. All right, I will come to the part where how we're gonna do it later. Okay, so again, with the axonometric of the Tetsuka house, it has to be under the scale of 1 to 50 as well. And that's why it is very crucial for you guys to complete the tracing of both the floor plan and the sections, the floor plans and the sections of the Tetsuka house, because the section help you understand how does the building connect between each other, and then the floor plan explain how is the layout of the inner, because you're gonna project those to 3D. Okay, so the axonometric of the Tetsuka house are required to draw the complete building. That's including the ground level, the second level, and the roof structure as well. The roof structure is one of the most challenging one. What you have to do is you have to go online and then looking at several 3D models or photographs that could capture the roof structure. I also show the example again. I will show the example in the following weeks. I will not do it now because I want you guys to keep exploring and keep an open mind toward the completing of our assignment. If I show it now, the concern of mine would be you guys would begin to be framed by those and doesn't have any exploration in terms of how to do axonometric, because it come with variation as well. Not all the drawings gonna be the same. Okay. One of the reasons why it is not the same is because it got two main angle when you construct your axonometric. So if you're looking at this page, again, the PDF file, you can find it from the modules from Canvas system. So basically we got a floor plans, okay? And then it got to construct the axonometric, you can do it in two angles. One is 30 degree and 60 degree. The other is 45, 45. Now, each angle will reveal different views of the interiors of the Tetsuka house, as well as the rotations, the beginning point of extrusion as well. So if we're looking at here, we begin with the floor plan rotated on an angle 30 one side and then the other 60. Then we extruding it upward. Then we complete the height of it, okay? So moving back to the Tetsuka house. All right, so to set it up, it's quite simple. So this is the floor plans, the ground level. So you start up with the ground level and then you rotate it to 30 and 60, right? So I will show you how to do the triangle ruler, but now let's just focusing on why it have different views, okay? Let's just say I decide this is gonna be my starting point. So here I extrude up, right? But if someone decide to do it this way or that way, all right? So all of these decisions are still valid and still correct. Like I said, different views expose different perspective, different inner perspective in your axonometric drawings. Okay, so with that, one of the most common one is starting from this angle. Okay, either 30-60 or 45-45. Okay. And after you construct on the walls and structure of the Tetsuka house, which will be one of the most important element of the house, right? Then you begin to fill in the details, including the cabinets, the sofas, the kitchen islands, the gas stove, the sink, and things like that. So you also have to add those as well. The axonometric has to go to the extreme levels, including the gap between the cabinets that you will see behind the kitchen islands. Okay, so there's the cabinets right here, right? And they have different shelves. Okay, not only horizontally, but not only vertically, but also horizontally as well. So you must expose on those gaps. Okay, axonometric for those. So the interior should include the door panels, kitchen island, sofa, and then the long bench behind the back of the wall. Running through that, the glazing, and anything that will be reviewed in this view. Okay. So not just a simple drawings. All right. So as you can see here, there are several examples of the axonometric drawings. Okay. It got many ways, but basically axonometric help us to review the interior layout and how that gonna be connected between the levels, and as well as explaining construction idea as well. So this is one form of representations that could be feasible to demonstrate it to the clients as well as to the builder. Within my practice, I do have I do a lot of axonometric, one for the clients and the other for the builders. For the builder, I don't emphasize a lot in terms of the layout. So most of the time, any loose furniture, I just took it out. And then for the clients, I tend to polish it with more design elements like colors, shadow, and shadings. Okay. So the reason why we're teaching you on these documentations are in later stage, especially when you're doing design studio or construction studio, you will have to decide which method, which drawings will be represent the idea and the information you wish to convey. For example, you want to tell the story of how the layout of this particular floor plans. Okay, beyond the floor plan and the section, and beyond the perspective drawings, which is, you're gonna do rendering on computers later on, which you will be learned. Do I need axonometric to show the layout, the internal layout? But then if I use it, do I need to show the other levels on my axonometrics as well? So study the basics of on this drawing will help you making that decision in later stage of your study, especially if you're still pursuing as architect and interior architect, right? All right, so with that, we're gonna go to the demonstration of the Tetsuka house. At the end of the video, I will do some I will remind you with some housekeeping stuff in regard to the rectangular volumes. Okay, so now let's move on to the demonstration of the axonometric for the Tetsuka house. So just before going to the demonstration, I was reminded of this very good book that saved me a lot of time when I was a student doing this unit. So basically within here, it shows you a few concepts of architectural drawings and design. Okay, so how would you do multiple point perspective? In this case, that would be 3-point perspective. We're not doing that, so don't worry. How do we draw the left to right perspective, which will become very handy. How do we draw the building levels? And of course, How would you do the shadings in your perspective as well? And then how do we add people into our drawings that make it proportional correctly in your perspective drawings? And then how would you do 1 point and 2 point perspective right here? That's 2 point, and now this is 1 point, and many other useful informations. Okay, so I believe there's a PDF version. Otherwise, I think you can order it from Book Depository or any online bookstore, and it's very cheap as well. So I would recommend that. Okay. Moving on to the demonstrations. So you're gonna need the two ruler. Okay, so this is the 30-60 degree triangle ruler. So that's 30 and that's 60. Okay. And for this one, this is 45-45. So 45 and 45. Okay. So it is crucial to have your floor plans ready. Now it comes to the issue, one of the common issue, and several of you might have noticed, a lot of the line in here are not straight. Okay, that's because of the scanning issue. And therefore, if you base your drawings, your axonometric on this one, now that will result in some inaccuracy if you keep blindly trace it. So that's why I was pressing you guys to finalize the pencil tracing of the Tetsuka house. So during the tracing progress, you're gonna update all the details in there. So for example, if the two lines here are not perpendicular, then in your tracing, you make it straight again. But in here, it is not straight. So that's why it will be best for you guys to have your own floor plans, the trace version as the base for the axonometrics, okay? But for the sake of demonstration, I will use the printed versions, okay? And before that, you're gonna need the T-square, okay? Line it up against the edge. Because I'm doing this while I am standing looking at the screen, so please pardon my shadows, okay? So we need one of the angles right here, and to make it up to the correct angles, okay, lean the triangle ruler against the T-square, all right, and then line up the length of the wall accordingly to the length of the triangle ruler, which is setting up to 30-60 degree. All right, so after we got that, we're gonna tape this, okay? But of course, let's just say that if you decide to do the other angles like that, would it still be correct? And is it possible? Of course it is, because like I said, it is a valid angle, but why would you need to show such a sharp angle like this? Because it won't expose anything. As soon as you extrude on the height, on the interior views are blocked. So not only you have to decide which angle will be best for your drawings, but you also have to decide which angle will be the best suitable for that view, okay? Similar to this one, you can do this as well. You can do from this side, all right, and then extruding up, or you can do it from this side. So this is 60. It's very steep. I would not recommend that. You can also starting from this side. So it goes like that, okay? Similar to this one. So it goes like that, which means you're looking from that angle, okay? When you're looking from this angle, that means that you're gonna see more of the kitchen island potentially, and you also see a proportion in here as well. However, I would recommend you guys to do from this angle, okay? So you see from that part, which is a standard one. Similar goes to the 45-45, so it's a little bit higher, then the 30, 60 degrees, sorry, will expose different views. 45, 45, basically, it is the same on both sides, right? So it's just a matter of you switching the view that you need. However, when you fix to that view, okay, when you fix to that view, the floor plans above, because you have to line up the second level floor plans to draw the axonometric of the above levels. So when you do so, it has to be on the same angle as the ground level, okay? Okay, so now that I have the masking tape, I'm just gonna prepare some of these. And just before that, I'm gonna setting up my angles. And for the sake of the demonstration, I will do the 30, 60 degree. And from this view, please note that you should spare some space from the edge of your drawings. Okay, and that don't leave this here. Now that will make your drawings pretty hard. Okay, so T-square, then line up your triangle ruler, and then line up against line the length of the wall against the line, make it parallel with the triangle rulers, okay, on that angles. Right. So after that, you're gonna tape it. Okay, so we're gonna tape it down 3 corners. Okay, so one here, one here, and the others gonna be either both sides. Okay. This right here will be good. All right. Next, we're gonna need a tracing paper. Okay. Okay. So for the tracing paper, you don't need to line up against that. It has to be the normal way that you have been doing with your floor plans. Okay. And note in mind that with this one, you might need for the taping of the tracing paper, only do it on the 2 edge, because just like the floor plan, you need to see what's happened underneath here. Okay, so now we're moving to the drawing of the Tetsuka house. Okay, so again, this is the up to scale 1 to 50. Before we're gonna do the height of it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna trace the footprints of things. Okay, so normally I would start off from the exterior, from that side, then moving into the interior. One reason being is if we're starting from this side and we're extruding the height, of course several footprints of the kitchen, for example, this wall will block quite a big proportion of the kitchen island. So what we really need is to see how high are the elements, because if this is gonna appear behind the height of the wall right here, the cabinet right here, then obviously you don't need to draw it and you don't need to trace the footprint. So we start off from, in terms of these angles, will be from the bottoms and then moving upward. Okay, so I trace the footprints of that. Might be challenging for you guys to see it. Okay, and now we're gonna move to the height. How much we and for us to move the height, to extruding the height against the T-square, and then we just need to move up, just draw up like that. Okay. All right. So we basically got the height of it, but how high we don't know, right, from the floor plan. So that's why we need the sections. So if you could take out your section drawings and then use your scale ruler, then measure the height of the area. Okay, so we're looking at 1 to 50 scale, and then we line it up against here, and then it says 2.65. Okay, so 2.65 is the height. So for your convenience, you could bring it down to 2.6 or even 2.5, just to make your drawings more precise. Okay, so 2.5 is all good for the axonometric. All right. So with that, I would mark on one of the height indicating the line of these wall is 2.5. So that is 2.5 right here. And so I just mark it like that. Okay. So from this angle, I then line up against the triangle ruler. So that line should be parallel with that, right? Just looking at the shape of it. And then for this one will be on the other side, all right? Just like that. Okay. Next is we're gonna erase the unnecessary line. The unnecessary line including the line that behind the objects that you're not gonna be able to see it. Okay, so that including these two lines as well as the footprint as well. We don't see it from this angle, isn't it? Okay, but we definitely some part of it right here. Okay, one things that I would recommend you guys is don't do on each of the line mark the 2.5 dot. For example, from 2.5 from here to here, then 2.5 from here to here, and from here to here, then you connect everything together. The reason being is when you mark it, there might be some slight adjustment between the dot, and that will result in a slight different degree, the slight difference in terms of the angle. And if that keeping adding up, it will ruin your axonometric drawings. So I would not recommend you to do so. Start with 1.2.5 and then using the triangle ruler, find the edges, find the boundaries of it, okay? And as you can see, when I move the paper, the white paper out, things start to get complicated with all the footprint underneath. Now we're moving into the windows right here. How do we know the height of it, right? Well, from section BB, so as you can see here, now that cutting through the windows, and this is the one right here. So again, measure up the scale ruler right here, and then we're looking at the height of 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 is the height of it. Actually, my apologies, that is 1.2. So from the base, from the floor to the base of the window, that is 1.2 meter. Okay, so again, we mark 1.2 meter. So it's right here. So it's a bit tricky to get on the line and on the dimensions, on the angles of these as well. So take your time when you do the axonometric. On average, it takes around 6 hours for one drawings. Okay. And then it should intersect with the extrusion line from here. Then after that, we're gonna add in the thickness. Okay, so thickness, extruding it up, connecting the lines. Now we're gonna slot in the piece of white paper, and then you can see how it looks like. Alright, so it looks, at the moment, looks pretty decent. Okay, but it's still missing several lines along the way, so we need to add that as well. Okay, so that will be the baseline. Right. So now we're gonna delete the unnecessary line, so that includes a line right here, right there, and this one as well. Okay, so because these two parts is actually is forming one big wall. If you see from the elevations picture, as I have instructed you to look over it in the past week. So with that, these line has to be erased, right? So now it looks like one big piece of a wall, right? Now, just like that, you're gonna move along on the objects right here. All right, so you move to the other area and try figuring out where it is. Okay, so now one demonstration to show you why tracing the footprint is very important, and from the order of bottom to the top, is because if you're looking at this area right here, now the several of its footprint is actually vanishings. Okay, so what you need to do in this case is not tracing the footprint, but just keep extruding the line. Okay, line by line, corners by corners. Okay, from this point to that will be 2.5. We know that because that's the height, the general height of the area. So 2.5, let's mark it. 2.5, good. Mark it right here. Then again, starting from this point, where's the 2.5 dot? Mark it right here. Okay, a little bit up. Or you can do the way that I have advised you, starting from one of the point that has measured 2.5, then keep trace it. Okay, so you trace the line, you make the line, so from one point, one of the corners of the objects, extruding up in case the footprint is being hidden by the height of the previous objects. Extruding up the line, starting from one of the corner, mark 2.5, then trace the below footprint, make it parallel above. Okay, and just like that, you're gonna have a pretty decent shape without the footprint. However, if you do this method, do it at a maximum 3 corners, 1, 2, 3, then connect here, then 1, 2, 3, then connect again. Don't extruding on the wall because you might not be able to see. For example, let's just say that I'm gonna extrude on the wall right now. Okay, all right. You wouldn't be able to know which line belong to which for you to trace the next line, to connect the next line. So 3 extruding line from each corner, one at a time. So it will help you go slowly. Okay, now come with these questions. Do I need to draw this part, this wall right here? Okay, so with that part, you don't need to draw it, so just make the wall ended right here. Okay, those who can manage to do this, there will be extra point. It comes with several challenging, including the staircase, the toilet, kitchen beneath it. How would you draw it? I would recommend you guys is just to go over it and then show me during the online consultations or email me with video and photos. Then I will make the online demonstration again in each group of how would you go about it. Okay. Also with the next question in terms of how would you do explode axonometric. Okay. So for that part, what you need to do is, let's just say, okay, so with the explosion of this view in particular, most students would explode this area, okay, this wall right here, this entire wall right here, and then just they took it out apart. And when you took it out apart, they usually a dashed line, okay? So that indicating the explosion. So when you explode it out, what happened is it going out of your page. So what you need in that case is another tracing paper carefully lined up below it. Okay, so because my table is pretty short, so it goes like this. Okay, so for example, this wall right here is the so like the taking out part from the wall, and then I will keep this part aligned like this. So during my submissions, during the online portfolio, you will scan everything, and when you scan it, you can easily align it. Axonometric, the original submissions on tracing paper will be 1 to 50, but when you scan it and then you put it into your A3 portfolio, it can be in any scale, not to scale. Okay, I will go to the online submission. The requirement for online submissions, for portfolio submission online, in terms of axonometric and perspective drawing again in later weeks when I demonstrate how to make the portfolios. And of course that will same goes with the area over here. Okay, so when you extrude that up, you'll notice that a proportion of the wall right here is actually out of the tracing paper. So line up again your tracing paper and then keep drawing it. Okay, and after you're done with the ground level, then that will be the second level. Okay, so when you've done that, line up the second level accordingly to the angle. One easy method would be checking up on the corners. Okay, so align the corners. If that perfectly aligned to each other, then that is good. And after you tape it down, then you lay the tracing paper on top. Make sure you align it carefully. What I would advise in this case is give it a go and show me your attempt, show me your challengings, and if you have any question in regard to the setup, email me immediately with the videos and I shall come back and explain to you guys. So that's how you would go about the axonometric drawings. Okay, so when you draw it, again, start with the footprint from the below, go up. When you do the explosion, for the axonometric, make sure you have the dashed line indicating where you took out that part. Okay, you must took out 2 parts of the house. All right, so the floor doesn't count. Taking out the floor level doesn't count, and what it counts is the interior space. So you must took out some part of the wall, mostly that side and that side. Okay, when you took it out, there must be some dashing line indicating where does that structure belong to, which part did you took it out conceptually. Okay. Okay, to the last part of the tutorial, that will be some housekeeping stuff from the rectangular volumes, which is your task 1B of your conceptual model assignment. Okay, so basically it goes with the same requirements like the first task. That is, you are only allowed to use A5 paper, A5 size. However, what you can do is, instead of making into one cube like I have said before, what you can do is you create little modules. Okay, so little cube and then start to assembling it together. And again, the task have a very same scope, that is to focus on the interior space. Please, again, do not focus on the exterior so much or the outer shape. Try to zoom your camera inside the models, okay? Even though that the theme is a rectangular volumes, the beginning point or the outcome doesn't have to be a cube or a box or any shape. It can be sort of like, as I have said quite a few times, a strip going around that look like a cube, and then you can increase, offset the height or whatever. Be creative. And while you're making the models, again, two techniques are applied, and that will be that. Okay, so rectangular volumes, pretty simple. Again, looking at several artwork from these artists, study them, inspire them. You don't need to directly translate what their works are. Okay, I am still working on an online platform where all of you guys can share the work and chat to each other. But at the moment, as I've said, Canvas has crashed one more time. And that's why I think it might not be a very universal and a good platform where it can give on our groups a good accessible time. Not everyone gonna be there at the same time, and they're gonna be scattered along the other times as well. So I'm just working on that. Okay, so please patient with me in terms of it. In terms of the sketch for the rectangular volumes, again, whatever you have done in task 1A, make sure you do the same sequences for task 1B. So if you have decided to stick with the charcoal and pencil or eyeliner and pencil, then stick with that format throughout these one, okay? At the end of week 4, what we are looking at, if you're looking at the schedule, okay? So you should have done on the tracing by pencil of the Tetsuka house, and somewhat begin with the eyeliner tracing of the Tetsuka house, as well as attempt the axonometric, at least a proportion to some certain proportion of the interior space of the Tetsuka house. Also, ongoing makings of the rectangular volumes, okay? So you need to at least complete half of the requirements. So if you're doing 4 models, then you should have complete 4 of those and several sketches, okay? Do not pile it up, especially, I know the tracing part is very simple, but trust me, when it comes down to the axonometric, it consumes a lot of time. It took me at least 6 hours per drawings, and there are 3 drawings. So the first level, second level, and then the roof. The roof is pretty simple, so you can do it within an hour or 2 hours. But for the 2 of those, and also some exploration time, error and trial times, because I don't finish everything. I study as I draw. So while I draw, I do a couple of several mistakes in terms of setting it up, and so I have to redraw it again. Give and take, it took about 6 hours per drawings. Okay, so you should manage your time carefully from now on, especially with axonometric. So I would say the first level, to some certain extent, complete. So reason being is, it gives me confidence and knowing you guys that, okay, I am comfortable with axonometric and I don't have any issue with the setup, because the issue with the axonometric is the setup itself. You don't know how to do the explosion, you don't know how to extrude things, or how you set up the tracing paper. That will consume a lot of time. So that's why if you have done several proportions of the interior space, that's mean you have already know how to do axonometric. So get on with it and do it. Okay, so again, for this week, watch these tutorial and then attend the online classes. Please be on time, and please be considered with the other groups as well. Several of you guys coming in from last week and late, that's fine by me, all good. However, just make sure, just drop me a quick chat that saying, sorry, I'm late. I'll come back to you guys after I finish on the group. And then, and please don't call me in the middle of calling the others. That's interrupting the conversations with the others. And also, that doesn't mean that you can appear late as well. This is going mobile, but basically I set up the time frame within our usual tutorial time, and it's mandatory for you guys to attend it, okay? Unless you have nothing to show, which is a not really good thing at the moment, okay? Then you don't turn up to online consultations. Otherwise, please turn up, and I will give you a notification, just like what I did last week. How many minutes left until I make the phone call. By that time, have everything prepared on your desk, and then note down on your questions. So when we proceed through the online consultation, you will have on the question, all the materials ready, okay? So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys even more productive with your works. Again, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay hygienic, okay? I'll see you guys on the online consultation. See ya.